What's going on, people? Welcome to Man Knows Football. You're here with myself, Guni, and Younes, and we are going to be talking about a few things. It's not going to just be the Chelsea versus West Ham preview for the game tomorrow at Stamford Bridge. A very, very important game, a must win. But we are also going to be discussing the situation surrounding Antonio Rudiger and him leaving the club. But before we continue, if you are here, make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already, and also subscribe if you are new. Younes, how are you doing?
Yes, Guni, man. I'm all right. I'm good. A bit tense. I'm not going to lie. I'm not too excited about tomorrow. I'm hoping we get a result, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm just like, I'm in limbo. It's not even a case of I'm confident or I'm nervous. I'm in between and I don't know what to think. So,
I mean, it's a funny one because I went on Matisse's channel yesterday for America is Blue, and even he was just like, I don't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's just like, because look, there's so many factors that's involved in this, and one of the main things that I said that concerned me was just the mentality factor as well. Because look, even when we do field a strong team, Younes, when we concede first, we rarely win games, which is hugely concerning. So that kind of throws me off in terms of how this game is going to go, because I know if we score first, we've got the potential to get a second and a third and put the game out of sight. But then my doubt comes is, if West Ham get an early goal or whatever, and it starts to hit us mentally, you see how we can capitulate in a short space of time, especially when things are not going too well at the moment. I mean, we've gone through, we've been through like baptisms of fire enough times during this season, and we've passed, but there's been some times where we've really struggled. You see what I'm saying? So I hope this is not another period where we're going through those struggles. One of the other things I want to say as well is that I still do stand tall on the fact that I feel Thomas Tuchel got the selection wrong against Arsenal, something which he absolutely cannot do tomorrow against West Ham, because this is another team that we're playing who have got something to fight for, which is obviously a space in Europe. They might even still have their sights on the Champions League. Who knows? I'm not a West Ham fan. I don't know what their ambitions are. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the point gap is on the table for them to get top four, but still, that's how I'm seeing it. I'm pretty sure that's how the players are seeing it as well. Another London derby. But Younes, how are you feeling really going into this game tomorrow? And considering Rudiger is not available, he's still going to be injured, and then obviously the rumors around him, and then you've got Christensen with his current form. Is his mind at Barca or is at the club? It's just looking mad for tomorrow, bruv. Where are we going to get any kind of confidence from?
Yeah, confidence is only going to come after the first 5-10 minutes if we've got some control of the game. That's it. Leading into it, the losses prior to the Real Madrid second leg was, a dent enough. And after that, and then the Southampton game and all of that, we thought Palace, we're like, okay, well, that's over now. It's all good. We're back to winning ways. And then you play like you play against Arsenal, man. And it's it's just, now it's, I don't know what to feel, because we're playing at home. West Ham aren't easy. They're not easy at all. And in terms of where they are in the table at the moment, yet sitting seventh. Although top four, I think, is a bit too much of a stretch for them.
It's a bit of a reach for them, yeah.
Because I think there's 8 points between them and fourth now, which is Arsenal. So I don't think they're going down that route. They'll probably go down trying to win the Europa League route instead.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, they're in a semi-final of a Europa League. Whoever would have thought that would happen under Moyes? They're seventh in the Premier League. They've had good results this season. They're a strong team. If we're going to bottle it against Arsenal with the way that they've been playing, there is a chance that we could bottle it against West Ham. But realistically, you'd think Chelsea are strong enough, man. On our day, we're beating West Ham. But we said this against Arsenal. So this is why I don't know. I don't know what to feel. Rudiger's out. That doesn't fill me with confidence whatsoever. Kovacic is out. That doesn't fill me with confidence whatsoever. For me, those two are some of the first two names you'll put on the team sheet.
They're set in stone for me.
Easily. And without Rudiger, we've seen what happened. Without Kovacic, we already know what can happen. Yeah, I don't know. It could be a Chelsea performance of a 4-0 win. It could be a performance of a 3-0 loss. I don't know what to expect. So it's a bit touch and go.
It's a bit of a weird one, but do you know what? In terms of that 8-point gap between West Ham and Arsenal's and your Tottenhams and the clubs fighting for top four. Now, usually I would agree with you if those teams didn't have the capacity to also bottle it themselves. And David Moyes also knows that, because look, as good as of a form Arsenal have been in, is anybody going to be surprised if they lose their next 3 run of games? Nobody will be. It's an Arsenal thing to do. Similar thing with Tottenham. They're on fire right now, but if they lose their next 3 games, who's going to be surprised? You see what I'm saying? Yep. So West Ham, for me, like, look, if it was a Chelsea, if it was a Man United, well, I'm not going to even say them now. Yeah, if it was a Chelsea in this, if it was a Chelsea in this situation, I would say, okay, cool, we could put our eggs in that Europa basket because of the quality of our team and obviously the history of us being in that competition. Every time we've been in it, we've won it. See what I'm saying? For West Ham, I can't really say the same. They ain't got the strength like we do. So for them to really put all their eggs in that basket, I get it, but I think it's a bit risky. And I still think Moyes should be looking at finishing as strongly as possible in the league. So I'm just bearing that in mind. But yeah, with those 2 figures missing, Rudiger, Kovacic, Rudiger as well, for me, obviously being one of the, he's a massive influence on the pitch and off the pitch. One thing I think we all unanimously agreed with on the panel yesterday was the fact that there has to be some kind of seniority in that back line, 1000%. Yeah. And the only person that fits that criteria, no disrespect to our captain Aspi, is Thiago Silva for me. I think at this point, with the form that he's in and the consistency he's had in that position and the relationship he's got in that position and respect, etc., he's the best person to marshal that entire defense. Because on top of the questionable back 3 that we saw, there was also a glaring lack of leadership within that trio. Because I don't know if you can put that down to the age. I'm not going to put it down to experience, because look, Christensen has had plenty of experience. Reece James is, Champions League winner, etc. So, but I just think that senior head, just to help the other 2 next to him, is gonna sort of balance things. So I think Thiago Silva is an absolute must in that lineup. And my other thing is do we go with a back 4 or a back 5 for this game?
It's a good question. I don't know. The way we've been playing, even against Arsenal, you could see elements of that hybrid. Shifting to a back 5 in defense, going to a back 4 in attack, and I do think we keep the same formation. I do think we'll go with wing backs, although I do think, and I think Tuchel is going to see it the same way as all of us. I think there's going to be personnel changes tomorrow, without question. Some players that played against Arsenal should not be playing tomorrow, easily. So, even so, I do think it's going to be a back 5 with wing backs. Because even if you go to fullbacks on that left-hand side, who you put in? You're going to put Alonso left back, bit sticky. Are you going to put Sarr left back after what happened against Arsenal? Are you even going to play him?
It's not even just against Arsenal. It's against Plymouth. It's Plymouth that we played. But this guy was getting twisted inside out, bruv. And now against Arsenal, he's doing star jumps like he's Mr. fucking Motivator. Like, what's going on here? Like, big up the people that remember Mr. Motivator, fam. That guy was like early 90s and wearing some mad fits and that and doing this whole like aerobics thing, but that's how Malang Sarr was just jumping around, fam. I was like, what is going on here? The star jumps, bro. Do you think he's going to be able to star jump his way out of trouble with Ben Rama and these boys?
This is the thing. West Ham, we've had history with West Ham, and I just know like they have areas of the pitch. If we're slacking, they can exploit and they can score. Man, they're not poor. They're a good team. They have pace. They've got speed. It'd be surprising if West Ham try and approach the game in a manner different to how Arsenal tried to do it. Arsenal were patient, hit the counters, used their speed, used the space. if they do the same thing, they can punish us. But we need to make sure we're at our A game, man. We have to.
I mean, look, because for me, the areas for West Ham in particular that I'm looking at, outside of the obvious of their star boy Declan Rice, so we've definitely got to be on point in the midfield because they're just going to run it with him and Souček. If that's what they're going to start, Declan, Souček in that midfield, we're gonna have to do something about that, really.
Yep.
But for me, I'm looking at your Jared Bowens on that wing, your Fornals potentially operating on that side as well, or even if it's a Ben Rama, which I think it will be. And then obviously you've got Antonio as well, who's started off with a good run of form, but that he's got his danger there. So for me, tomorrow, Chelsea are going to have their work cut out.
Completely.
So the question is, who do you start next to Thiago Silva if you're going with a back four, or who do you start either side of him if you're going with the back five?
Oh, okay. So if we're going to a back four, then I think Chalobah's going to be next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would anyway at this point. And if it's a back five, I would still have Silva in the middle, Chalobah on his left, and Azpilicueta on his right. And I think that's all we can do because Christensen and Sarr should not be playing tomorrow.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, I've heard people have shouted, "Oh, well, Chalobah's not really been on the best form. He's looked like a red card waiting to happen over his past 2 games." Well, look,
I'd rather that than the others that we've seen.
Well, yeah, there's that. But then when you really look at it holistically and you see Trevor's performances all season, I haven't really seen it's really been not even a handful of bad performances that he's had.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So, like, there has to come a point where you say, at what point does the majority of the good games that he's shown us outweigh the 2 or 3 bad games that he's had? So you got to bring him into the lineup at some stage. And I think this is it. Personally, I think we have to stick with the back five because for me it's a rather be safe than sorry thing. We cannot lose this game. I'd rather take a point from this game than lose. I know it sounds like the obvious, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of being sucked into this top 4 race, I don't want it to happen. Although a point wouldn't be the greatest thing, it's better than nothing. But that back five has to happen for me. Same as you, I put Azpilicueta on that right centre back role. Thomas Tuchel, please don't play James as the right centre back. Now, look, I'm going to be fair and say this. When Reece has been called to play that right centre back position, he's performed well. Aside from obviously the Arsenal game, in my opinion, but what could he do with the other 2 that were as shabby as they were? See what I mean? It's a unit thing. But Real Madrid, we saw how well he performed there. So it does work sometimes. I want to be fair and say. But in this moment where we're looking so scarce we're so, not even scarce because we've been scoring, but I'd say more inconsistent in front of goal and in terms of chance creation, because you saw against Arsenal, we barely penetrated anything and Arsenal were dog shit. That's what made me more angry about the game, is that Arsenal was shit. They didn't even have to play well to win the game.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. We gifted them most of the goals, to be honest with you. But Reece James, in terms of going forward and contributing and even potentially scoring goals, whether we like it or not, he is one of the biggest threats in this team. And we have to play our best and most informed players in their best positions. We have to. We cannot abandon that if we want to be winning games and really getting the 3 points on the board. So Reece James, for me, has to stick at that right wing back position. I don't really want to see him go right centre back anymore. Unless we really, really have to. It's an injury situation. Don't really want to see him there. On that left wing back side, it's going to have to be Marcos Alonso again by default for me. And it's literally that by default, because what else do we have? I'm not trusting Malang Sarr there. That's impossible.
Definitely not.
That's impossible. And even if he had his stinker, you couldn't even blame him because it's nonsensical sticking him there in the first place. You see what I mean? And another thing I will say about that Arsenal game, as pissed off as I was, I'm not pissed off at those players. And for that game, I'm not, because the combinations were just crazy to me. And that's something I hope Tuchel avoids tomorrow. The time to be tinkering and, doing a whole... Nini FC calls it textbook stuff. like being a textbook manager. Like, this is not the time to do that, man. You gotta go with what's your most likely certainty in this lineup. So from there, that's the back five. Can you agree with that back five? You good
Yeah,
with that?
completely. And
Now,
on that point, quickly, Thomas Tuchel could have had the opportunity to start tinkering from tomorrow if he had not done it against Arsenal.
yes,
That would have been ideal, and that's what I thought was going to happen. But yeah, we're here. So yeah, that back five though, I agree.
yeah. So that's the back five. Now the pivot is also where it's going to be very, very tricky now, because with the form of N'Golo Kante, and considering the midfielders that are in this team and the potential for the counter attack, because they can be strong in that as well. West Ham, we cannot afford to be giving away possession in the middle of the park so frequently, especially with a Declan Rice, who is this hybrid midfielder that can pick up the ball from anywhere. He can dribble, he can break lines from deep, he can even, get into our final third and cause problems. Yeah. Losing possession in this midfield is an absolute no-no. And this is why reluctantly, because of the choice that we have, I have to put Jorginho there for me as a default, because in terms of possession, retention, and dictating tempo, he's the only one that's fit and available.
He's the only one that can play deep as well. We can't have the problem in the other games were that we've had Kante, Loftus-Cheek, sometimes both of them so far up, leaving so much space. Jorginho doesn't go up, he sits. It's better than having no one. So Jorginho has to be there. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Yana, you make a good point there, and I don't entirely disagree with you. It's just my thing is just that retention of possession is key, because a lot of the goals that we concede is from unforced errors.
It is.
We conceded way too many unforced errors. Thomas Tuchel was saying the other day we've had eight unforced errors for a team that should be challenging on, well, at first I was saying at all fronts, but now we see this team is not, but at least challenging for, your one major trophy right now. That's what I'm going to put it down to.
Yep.
You're making 8 unforced errors, and you're trying to finish comfortably in the top 4 and bridge gaps with the better teams. Impossible. You can't be doing it like that. So that's why I say Jorginho is one of them. Now, who do we partner him with in that pivot?
Kante. For me, it's straightforward, because I think with that partnership, you might get something going. I think Kante's issue as of late has been having we know that Kante can't sit deep alone by himself, and that point that I made earlier of him having someone alongside him who's going to go up with him leaves him exposed and put under pressure as well. I feel with Jorginho, Kante has a bit more freedom and a little bit more protection, and vice versa. Because Kante, on his day, he's not been on form. Let's have it right. But on his day, can intercept and can win the ball higher up the pitch to alleviate some of the pressure of Jorginho. But at the same time, Jorginho does protect Kante if he's sitting deep, which Loftus-Cheek doesn't do. Kovacic can do both, which is why he's so great in having in this midfield. But if he's not there, I'm going Jorginho Kante. Experience, stability, and we'll just see what happens.
Now, how about this? So when we are, because obviously our concern is more when we are in possession, especially with N'Golo Kante. We know Jorginho, we worry about his mobility as well. Now, this is the thing with having Reece James at that right wing back position. Now, you see how Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been doing a whole quote unquote hybrid thing, coming from that midfield and then operating out wide as a right wing back. You can now invert it as well now. So instead of having, Jorginho isolated with Kante going forward, then maybe Reece James can just tuck inside and sort of have that support next to Jorginho. And then that turns into a back 4. Because now if you've got Trevor Chalobah on that right centre-back side, he can just go to that right back because he's played that right back position. Now, I'm not advocating going forward. He does that. But in points during the game, if you've gone from the back 5 to the back 4, it's been done. Like you've got at least you've got a player that is familiar with that position in Trevor. So that would be my reasoning with it. Whether it's the right call, I don't know, but I'm just really trying to come up with some ideas to sort of give Jorginho that support, so we're not necessarily overly ran in midfield. Because if he's not starting with Benrahma on that left-hand side, which you've seen him do quite a few times this season, and he goes with Fornals instead. Fornals drops and comes into that midfield three. So then you've got Souček, Declan Rice, and then Fornals is the trio. Whereas then you've got N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. It'll be good to have like a Reece James who can come inside there, and also he can operate from a midfield because even him, he can start. He can start attacks from deep. Reece James. This guy is a multifaceted player. He can do these things and he can do it at a high level. So that's what I'd sort of be trying to look at. But just moving on from that midfield into the trio. If you're going to say trio, or maybe the two up front and the Mace behind, whichever one. First of all, which one would you go for?
I'd go for the Mace behind, personally. Again, I think it adds a little bit. We should add a little bit more protection onto the midfield. It's a link to the two strikers, and I feel like with the two strikers up top, it's just better at the moment. Now, if we shift it over, we'd need to have a Pulisic or a Ziyech on the pitch. I would think. So I'd go with Mason behind.
Okay, so yeah, obviously, because Mace basically he's another one right now, especially towards this tail end of the season, whose name, like, although you're gonna have to rest him at some stage, you just can't get him out of the team. You just can't.
No,
it seems to be that hub of creativity who's assisting, getting goals. He's hit a decent patch of form over the past couple of games. Fair play to him. So he definitely holds his position. In front of him, for me,
it's easy.
Lukaku is on. Like, for me, for me, after what I saw against Arsenal, and again, I'm not going to lean it entirely on him because there was, one or two good things that he did, but nothing that was good enough for me. But he, at this point, it's becoming untenable now.
It is, and it's unbearable.
Yeah, it's untenable.
Hard to watch.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where you're hurting for him because, like, I've gone from a point of just frustration, anger, get out of my club to, boy, he must really be hating this, How must he feel like his confidence is shot to pieces?
As a striker, it's probably on the brink of getting destroyed. Right, unless he goes somewhere else. That's the only way, man. You need one of the most miraculous comebacks to try and overturn this psychologically. Yeah. Like, it's not easy. Even if he were to have a game and bang in a hat trick, that won't do it. Like, he needs about 5 consistent hat tricks for him to be able to think, you know what? I think it's turning around. Like, that's not going to happen. And right now, the truth of the matter is that he's just not pulling his weight. He's just not.
He's not. And this is the thing, Younes. I believe the one turning point for Romelu Lukaku, the one huge point where he could have just turned it around, was if he put that header on target at Stamford Bridge. That was it for me. I just believe if he had done that, I reckon for him, he was halfway to redemption, at least for this season.
Absolutely.
Because, you know what I mean? Because we could have been looking at that now as, well, boy, if it ain't for that header, we're not getting to this semi-final.
Exactly.
So, but that was his opportunity. And this is, with £100 million price tag, is it too much to ask for him to get that on target? See what I'm saying? So this is why I hold him accountable into these standards. And this is the thing. He put his foot in his mouth by saying he feels he's at the quality to be playing at Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich, etc. So I'm going to hold you by the standards of those strikers. And if you fail me each time, then, boy, what do you want me to do?
What's mad, on the same night, Benzema showed him how to do it twice in 2 different situations. That's what you're competing with. That is what you're competing with. So
that's truly what a world-class elite striker is, Karim Benzema. So it's
Oh,
definitely gone.
Lukaku for this game for me starts up front in the canteen for an apple crumble.
Yeah, he starts
in catering.
For me, please. I mean, there's rumors going around that the AC Milan are looking at Lukaku, which to many,
with pleasure,
to many would be a controversial move. To me, I couldn't give a shit. Just get him out at this point. But
I heard PSG are interested as well.
Like, I'm hearing that. So listen, there are suitors for him because teams aren't dumb. Lukaku has his uses, just not in the possession-based team in the Premier League. Because look,
I agree.
The way this league's going, the whole traditional number 9 is not really being used in the top teams. Liverpool ain't got one. Manchester City ain't got one. You know, Chelsea, we
Manchester City don't
operate
even
better.
have a striker.
That's what I'm saying. Up to Chelsea, we operate better with Kai Havertz up front, you know. So it's going that direction. Lukaku's just not multifaceted enough to really cope in the Premier League. So just put him back in Serie A. Hope he has a good time. Just give us a good price and just get him out of my club. No disrespect. So it's got to be Kai Havertz for me starting. In an ideal world, I wish I could rest him, but unfortunately, we're stuck on options. His partner for me, based on form, it's definitely got to be Timo Werner. Again, grabs another goal. Looked like one of the better players against Arsenal. A game that didn't have many positives, but Timo has hit a purple patch. It's good for prospective buyers because I'm still of the opinion that Timo needs to be sold. If we can get a decent amount of money for him, yes, we should go for it, and we need to replace him with much better quality, 100%. So for me, that's the 11 of it. We missed out the goalkeeper, obviously that's been Edouard Mendy. So we have gone with Edouard Mendy in goal, the centre back trio of Thiago Silva, Trevor Aspilicueta, wing backs Marcus Alonso, Reece James, midfield pivot of Kovacic and no, not Kovacic, Jorginho and Kante. Just in front of them, Mason Mount, and in front of Mason Mount, you have Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. So that would be our choice for tomorrow. Whether Tuchel picks anything like that, you never know. Right now, it's just a guessing game with Tuchel. He's just tinkering and tinkering. I mean, we got to be fair with him. He's got to make do with what's available to him. Injuries have happened for him, etc., etc. So there's not much he can do about that. But before we move on to the next topic, what is your prediction for tomorrow?
I don't know. Like, I really don't know, man. I want to be real. I want to be honest. But I don't want to be too honest. So I'm going to go with... I want to say Chelsea win 1-0. I can see like a 2-2 or something stupid happening though. So yeah, we'll just hope for the 1-0. That's it.
I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. I think we're going to get a late goal. 2-1 Chelsea. I'm just going to be positive. I'm going to, whether I fully believe that
Just
in
for
my
the
heart,
sake
it's
of
a
it,
different
innit?
story.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go with 2-1 Chelsea. But now
Mate,
that
you can't for a prediction. It's mad. You can't say your team will lose. You can't. You just can't.
Yeah,
I
can't.
Even though you might be feeling it, you can't say it. You just can't. So
yeah, impossible. Yeah. It's just that never say die spirit, bruv. You just can't. Yeah, you just can't. But we've gone through the preview, given our prediction. To those that have joined us, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. If you are new, we're on the road to 10K. Also, as well, smash up that like button. And Younes and my details are down there in the description. Everything is clickable links, so you can find us. Twitter, Instagrams, etc., so on and so forth. Everything is down there. But the next topic is the situation with Antonio Rudiger. It has been reported that Rudiger will not be signing a new contract with Chelsea Football Club and apparently is looking to negotiate a deal with Real Madrid. You know, very sad to see one of the big personalities, one of the top performing players, one of the top performing centre backs in Europe currently about to walk out of Chelsea on a free transfer. And it hurts to see that. But, you know, can you blame him? The way we have dealt with him has been completely unacceptable. You know, I see quite a few Chelsea fans blaming Marina. I've been pissed off at Marina. I had a bit of a rant about Marina on Matisse's channel. I was a bit hasty on that because I was pissed off, emotional. I think it was after the Brentford loss or something like that. So I was just ranting on. But Marina has been held to question for this. So the question is this now, Younes, with Rudiger going, a team that once upon a time, not long ago, looked like it needed one or two more pieces to be competing for things at all front, possibly the following season, is now potentially looking like we're going to have to do a rebuild because we're losing players. We're losing key players. We've lost Andreas Christensen. We have lost Rudiger now on a free. You know, you've got your contract situations with Kante and Jorginho. Jorginho is looking like he might leave the club in the summer. I don't know too much about Kante. So all of a sudden things get a bit worrying. To some, it might be an opportunity to start again with more young, fresher talent, possibly academy youth that have, you know, deserved places. But let's start with this you know, the whole contract showdown with Rudiger and basically how he's been treated at the club, you know, since you know, because we have to also, sorry Younes, I know I'm chatting, but I've got a lot on my chest
No, it's
today,
cool.
bro. Because you got to look at it from where he started, you know. It wasn't Sarri, was it Sarri season where we signed him, or Conte
Nah,
season?
Conte.
Yeah, we signed him, and then he had a good season under Sarri. I feel he did. And then Lampard comes in and tries to completely freeze him out and even sell him to Tottenham. And at that point, if you're trying to be sold to Tottenham from Chelsea, your Chelsea career is pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah.
But Lampard's left, Tuchel's come in. He's worked very well with this manager, and he's now become arguably one of the top 5 centre backs in Europe.
Yeah.
And the fact that his contract situation wasn't even sorted out before the whole sanctions thing is an abomination in itself. My question to you is this: is this Marina's fault entirely? Or do Chelsea Football Club and the board need to look at themselves as a whole and say, we all fucked up?
It's a tough one because I'm sure there's details that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear about how this new contract was being built up and being offered and doing all of that. And you know, I can understand from the club's perspective if they try and offer, which they did, an offer of around 150k a week, and then, you know, they think of trying to up it from there if they have to. Because if you just give a player immediately what he wants, then everyone's going to get that hint. So
Yeah.
I get it from that perspective. I feel like it's been dragged on way too long, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it shouldn't have gone this long. And on top of that, now we find ourselves in a situation where Roman is selling, personnel are changing. I don't think Marino and all them lot will be at the club next season, if I'm being honest. So I'll be surprised. Anyway, so with new owners coming in, that process has dragged everything out in itself. So when you're hearing about Rudiger wanting to try and find out who the new owners are and see what direction the club's going in, well, he won't know that. We won't know that up until when the new owners come in. And that should have been done, but it's not. So he's not going to hang about and just wait. I understand it. On top of that, when you hear what Matt Law has said and some of the others in that Athletic article that came out today, that Chelsea did actually offer him, in fact, in excess of 200k a week.
Mm-hmm.
But there are things like agent fees and a £10 million signing bonus and all of that you're hearing that Chelsea were just like, this is too much. I can get it. On the flip, as I've said, this should have been sorted earlier.
Yeah.
Rudiger and his history at Chelsea, weirdly enough, hasn't actually been good up until Tuchel came in. Before Tuchel came in, I remember all of us thinking he might just go, and you know what, he might have to.
And no one cares. Nobody really was caring.
He's not really doing that good, is he? Little did we know that he had that much ability in him. And Tuchel turned him into, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best centre backs in the world. So now we're so desperate to keep him. But yeah, 1 year ago, or well, just over 1 year ago, all of us would have been like, "Oh yeah, Rudiger, okay, if he's leaving, fair enough."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a sticky one. It's a sticky one. But all I can say that now, it's a shame. I feel like it could have been resolved much earlier. It should have been resolved much earlier.
Yeah.
We should have kept him. He clearly wanted to stay. And he's going.
And I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to call him a snake. I don't think he's handled this badly
not at all.
I don't think he's
not at
handled
all
this badly at all. I think he's been respectable and he's waited as long as he can wait. And the situation with Chelsea, apparently he was promised that it would have been sorted out within, a decent amount of time. It's dragged on till now. Deadlines are just consistently being broken. But yeah, it's his career. He can't play with it, and it's potentially his last big contract, as somebody has quite rightly said in the comments. And Real Madrid is a once in a lifetime opportunity that every player, really, most of the majority of players would not say no to. So why is Rudiger any different?
Yep.
My bone is this: is I've got to look at the board now. Blaming Marina entirely for this is not really the fair thing to do, because you see, although she does take care of negotiations, Marina takes care of so many other things as well. She's got a lot on her plate. Now, the question for me is Roman should have delegated her work a bit better, because from what I'm seeing is that she's being the whole jack of all trades, and she's doing a decent job at it. But, when it's coming down to the transfers and the ins and outs, she's not really had the best record. But what I mean by that is she runs the day-to-day operations of the club. You see the upgrade on the Westview. She was the one that was in charge of that. Then there's negotiating with the players, etc., etc. I say that to say this is with new owners coming in, it would be, in my opinion, bad business to gut like the whole of like the board at once. So by getting rid of Marina, getting rid of Bruce Buck, getting rid of Roman Abramovich, that would be a severe blow to Chelsea Football Club, because now you're bringing in an entire new leadership who have never dealt with this club before. Yes, they've got experience with other professional clubs, but it's almost like hitting a restart. Now, how many years is that going to set us back as Chelsea Football Club?
Yeah, that
You
needs to
see
be a
what I mean?
transition.
So for me, I can imagine Todd Bowley or whoever is coming in and saying, Marina, look, I understand that you might not be too convinced to stay at Chelsea, but in interest of the transition, stay with us for at least another year. Help us, at least transition some of your roles, your day-to-day roles, to, a Peter Cech or someone, so he can learn, continue to learn under her. And then as she moves on, the transition is not as difficult.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I think something like that needs to happen. And another thing is a department of football, the director of football needs to come in 100%. Whether that's a Michael Edwards, a Luis Campos, or Luis Campos, or Monchi, or somebody of that stature, who has a proven track record with recruitment, who's not always going to be looking at at 100 million, 120 million pound release clauses and taking them gambles. Actual, competent scouts as well, which in my opinion means getting rid of this current scouting team as well.
Yeah.
A lot needs to be done, but by gutting out Bruce Buck, Roman and Marina, that's a very, very risky thing to do. So going forward, Younes.
Oh, sorry, 1 sec, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Take this 1 sec.
No problem. Yeah, Younes has just had to run and take a call. So basically what I'm saying is it's just to gut that gut that out for an organization is not going to be the best thing to do. In my opinion, I think it's going to make the transition that little bit more challenging. But Rudiger's going, Christensen's going, which basically means that is 2 first-team centre-backs that have left the club. Now, in any other circumstance, this is where we've got a silver lining, is that we do have the youth and we have a centre-back who is currently performing at a very, very good level. Yes, he's playing in the Championship, but he's developing very well there. That is Levi Colwill. And quite a few people, our fan base, and he's spoken highly about, and quite a few clubs are interested in his services. So him stepping into the first team wouldn't necessarily be out of the question, but it's, you can't throw him into the deep end. And then you've got the situation with Jules Koundé as well. Not too sure what the progress is with Koundé, whether we're still interested. We don't know what's going on with the leadership at Chelsea, but there are those 2 options. I was just saying, Younes, we've got the Levi Colwill option, and there's still the interest with Koundé as well. So those are 2 very well. One of them is our player, and the other one is potentially still very attainable and wants to come to Chelsea Football Club. I'm not expecting them to walk into the team and hit the ground running and replace the shoes of Rudiger and even some of the performances we've seen from Christensen. But at least that's a good start. But where does that put expectations from me with such big characters that are leaving the club, especially defensively as well?
Yeah, it's not easy, especially for someone like a Colwell to come in, because you're still relying on someone quite youthful. Kunde, I think, will be a decent addition. If we were to get him, I think that would be decent enough. But yeah, it's difficult to try and just eliminate someone like Rudiger and try and replace him like that. It's not easy at all. You need a top centre back to do that. It's not going to be just straightforward to replace a Rudy, but we don't have a choice. So I would say Kunde would be a good bet coming in. Colwell, for sure, I think down the line needs to be able to come back into this team. And then we can start building from there. We've already seen some of the names that have left, like a Livramento, who we could have done with, or we've got to be cautious going forward now. I think with new owners, we need to be able to make sure we've got a scouting department that know what they're doing. We need to be able to make sure we have personnel that know what they're doing, that can notice these things, and keep the gems that we know we need to keep for the benefit of the club and for the benefit of the lineup and the team. So. Yeah,
this is interesting because I never saw Inter in their right mind would be selling Bastoni. I rate that guy highly, and apparently,
are they selling him?
Apparently, he's for sale. Now, if he's for sale, that's not a centre back that you really want to be turning your nose up at, because he's versatile as well. We can play out wide, left back and left wing back. Did you see him against Liverpool playing that left back role?
Yeah, yeah.
Smokage on smoke. You see now, if Bastoni, I would welcome with open arms to Chelsea Football Club. Now, if they're signing him, these men are saying Pau Torres. I'm taking Bastoni all day. I think Bastoni's left-footed as well.
I think he is. Yeah,
I think he's left-footed as well. I would take him. Now, here's my thing. That's what I wanted to say, Younes. First of all, how much time do you have? I don't want to keep you running over.
I've got another 5 minutes or so.
It's got another 5 minutes. Okay. Real quick. Damn, that kind of threw me.
Apologies.
All right. Well, okay. So what I really wanted to say was, look, going back to just the Marina thing, is we shouldn't have had Malang Sarr as an option. It really should have been Aguehi there, who we let go to Crystal Palace. Absolutely criminal to me. Big up Monster, you were saying in the spaces. Like, it didn't even occur to me. It's like, absolutely makes no sense. Malang Sarr being in this lineup ahead of Guehi. It's just bad planning. So, like,
it's all money.
Yeah, that's what it
money.
Is. And Reece James as well. Apparently, Marina wanted him sold for 25 M's, and it was Lampard that said no. Yeah.
I do remember something like that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, there you are. This is why director of football is needed.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone with the football knowledge. Yeah,
100%. But Younes, when will you be available for like a part 2? Because you know what, I would like for us to sort of talk about like the infrastructure at Chelsea and how like the new ownership can come in and really sort of improve things and perhaps just basic overall improvements. But so when will you be available for like a part 2? I know tomorrow's match day, so it might be difficult.
Tomorrow's match day. Yeah, if not Monday, I reckon, no problem.
Monday, okay, perfectly. Yeah. So people definitely look out for a part 2 of this conversation. I think, I got lost in the conversation, man. So I think I kept Younes a bit longer than I'm supposed to. I apologize for that, Younes.
No, it's cool.
But if you've got time, real quick, just let the people know what you've got coming up.
Preview for tomorrow's game will be uploaded this evening. And then tomorrow is going to be watch along, match review. We'll see what happens and hopefully all goes our way. And then Monday, see what's popping up. I might actually get a Reddit video done on Monday. That needs to happen. It's been too long. And at the same time, I'll be over on here discussing what we're going to talk about. So yeah,
100%. And over here tomorrow, watch along post-match as well. I will be doing so. Definitely join us for that. And if you are new here, smash up that subscribe button, smash that like button as well. We are on the road to 10K and we are close to making that happen. We're at 7.5K. Let's get to 8K. Let's see how fast we can get there. And from then on, it's only 2K left, man. It's crazy how you lot have helped. Massive respect to all of you in the chat and all of you who, you know, watch after the lives as well and share the content. It's really, really appreciated. But yeah, like I said earlier, all of our details, our socials are down there in the descriptions. Make sure you do give us a follow, and where you can find Younes, every single one of the links are down there as well. So wherever you are, whatever you are doing, please make sure you do